baby beard.
Waited for you, Fry.
This episode traumatized me as a young person.
My head is hurting again.
Where's my firstborn son?
God does not care about me masturbating.
Your singing is bad and you should feel bad.
First get out into the bus, so you're like, oh no!
Yeah. I don't like myself becoming the protagonist of this podcast. You've been in
because you haven't learned anything.
Shut up and take my podcast. Yeah.
We are ready to rumble.
Fuck yeah. Great, because I just blew out my
I
voice.
was going to say, how are you feeling after that one?
It's fine.
You take a swig of water. You earned it.
This is actually...
Whiskey?
Cognac.
Vodka?
Cognac.
You're stepping up.
Is it really cognac?
Yeah.
Why was I not offered any?
Because it's mine, bitch.
I was going to bring my
answers.
bearded ladies and their 3 standard drinks in a can. I bought some last night. I had one. It was nice.
Drinking
I have
canned...
to go home after this
Yes.
in a vehicle. So
As do I.
Drinking canned alcohol always makes me
you're at
feel
home.
like a...
Uh,
Like, I've got fun mum energy. Like, come on, girls, I've just opened my can wine.
you become a fun Karen.
I don't really associate it with that. I associate it with like
Bogan?
Yeah,
Yeah, the other way.
titties of Jack Daniels or
Oh,
whatever.
no,
yeah.
see, I'm thinking of, like, the trend at the moment with, like, canned sparkling wine, where it's like, come on,
isn't-
girls.
I get the same
It's not
vibe from canned wine.
that can't be a.
Canned wine?
It's not.
Yep. I had some.
I'm out, guys. See ya.
Because I took it into the movies.
Oh.
Because I was, it's actually, I got a really cool...
That was me jumping out the window.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, just
Wow, I cared so much.
Before we can bring this up in 2
yes,
seconds.
sorry.
Welcome everybody to Shut Up and Take My Podcast, that Futurama podcast that pits episode against episode in a bloody glorious gauntlet battle for your drunken entertainment. And as always, I'm joined here by Fun Karen.
Oh, shit, that was me. I really hope, well, I'm not having children, but if I did have children, that they wouldn't put up a sexy photo of me when I was young.
They might. I'm joined here by Bogan Tinny Phil.
Sinister Bubbles.
And we're joined here by
By
Sean.
If I'm ever put on trial, there better be Jury Collies.
Jury Collies.
Jury Collies.
They're the fucking best.
What do they even do? They just heard the
They
jury,
just heard them into
I guess.
deliberations.
Into the room.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of great.
Was there like a problem? They weren't going into the jury room, so they had to get...
There was
There must
literally
have been.
no reason for them. As much as I love the Jury Collies, there was no reason.
You
for them
haven't
to
seen
be
the
there.
previous issue that they have now solved.
What?
The jury just
just refused.
disperse.
They don't know
Yeah,
where
They
to
just
go.
disperse into the
Ah.
courtroom, right? And you need to round them up.
Kumba,
Yeah.
kumba, in the pen.
But yeah, and you are Ellen. You're not just in case someone's coming for the first time. You are Ellen. You're
Oh
not.
my god, wouldn't it be
you're
great
not.
if someone thought this was my favorite murder?
Or
Can
just
you
like,
imagine if we had the listenership as like my favorite murder?
oh my god. Oh, if we had that many people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
just-
spread. Actually, you know what? Let's spread that rumor.
We
Let's
are.
spread that rumor that I'm Karen Kilgariff, and this is like the #1 comedy podcast of
we're
all
bigger
time.
than what is it? Serial.
Jesus.
Is that the biggest one?
I mean,
My
Serial,
dad wrote a porno.
what is the biggest one
What's
at the
the
moment?
biggest podcast
Ever.
ever?
Serial.
Probably my
Like
American
still, though?
My American History.
American
This
Life?
American Life.
This American Life. We are This American Life's Baby Beard Media's
By
Shut Up and
Australians.
Take My Podcast.
Because you know who
We've
knows
got
the
it.
most about America?
Us.
Us, yeah. Nice.
Hey guys, guess what we're up to on this Futurama podcast?
No fucking idea.
We're up to no good.
Cheeky.
Very good.
No, silly Philly.
I
We're
love-
up to season. We're up to season 6, episode 25, Overclockwise.
Ah,
Do you know what? Do you know? I had to look it up. I know
Sort
now.
of a portmanteau. That's what
Yeah.
I thought it was. Overclocked is when you increase the clock on your CPU.
for the purpose of
getting more performance out of your
Yeah.
PC. Generally, it does, as portrayed in this episode, makes your PC run hotter, so you have to be careful there.
is it illegal? Do we get put in jail
I
for
don't
it?
know. No, I mean it does
I
void. I
mean-
think it does void your warranty generally. And then clockwise is the manner in which the hands rotate on a clock face.
Which is is it or is it not the way that our toilets run?
ours go either way.
We should ask Josh Weinstein because he
No.
wrote it into the episode.
This was a thing on QI. Like you can push the water to go one way, push the water to go
It's
the other
more
way.
to do with the the shape of the toilet.
Yeah, exactly.
Than which hemisphere it's in.
I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to listen to a Simpsons episode. I think that is more authority.
Yes, where they...
Josh Weinstein wrote it.
What are the other facts that they have about... I'm putting Australia in quotation marks here.
I thought facts should go in quotation marks.
Wait. No,
They're sarcastic quotation marks.
I'm not willing to say whether this is truth or not. Do kangaroos have mucus in their pouch?
They must
they
do,
have
right?
a kind of pap, I think, that they
because
suck on.
the Joey needs to suckle on something.
Yeah. I think they might do.
Gotta suckle on something.
It's not weird how platypi sweat.
Yeah, it is platypi. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the confidence, mate.
Life of platypi.
Isn't it weird how they sweat milk?
Ugh.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
full cream or skim?
I mean, you could have stopped with isn't it weird? Like platypi, isn't it weird?
They are, yeah.
What is?
Generally, I do love the fucking like English people, people reporting back to England about things they found in Australia and being like, "Oh, this is an animal that we found there," and they're like, "That's bullshit."
No, you sewed like 3 animals together.
Exactly.
Very, very clever.
How many drugs did you take last night, Tim? I took one drug. I took one drug.
One drug. But back in those days, they were a lot stronger, you see, since everyone was doing cocaine just, to get rid of headaches.
Speaking of someone well-versed with drugs and cocaine, the director for this episode is Rami Muski. I'm joking. You would look so offended. He's never coming back on the podcast.
I was like, is this how you want to burn these bridges, Sean?
I'm getting it while it's hot. The director for the episode is Rami Muskies, and the fact for Rami Muskies is 2 episodes ago, he came on Shut Up and Take My Podcast, a Futurama podcast that pits episode against episode in Bloody Glorious Gauntlet Battle for your entertainment.
I've heard about that podcast.
Yeah, they're up and comers. They're real go-getters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
check out their Facebook, Instagram.
And the writer for this episode is Josh Weinstein.
Oh, gosh, what a lovely fellow.
Friend of the show, Josh Weinstein.
The fact about Josh Weinstein is a couple of episodes ago, Josh Weinstein was on a podcast called Shut Up and Take My Podcast. The Futurama podcast that pits episode against episode in a glorious gauntlet battle.
Okay,
your
right,
entertainment. They've both been on the podcast.
And they're both lovely, lovely people.
They really are.
Yeah.
They really are.
Like, I know we were joking when it's like friend of the podcast, but like, oh my God, like, I love Josh.
How great. How great. No, honestly, but how they none of it, like, how to say never meet your heroes? I want to meet these people. I want to have a dinner with all of them.
Yeah, can we host
Invite them? We can.
I am absolutely not paying for airfare.
Yeah. You think of a fun Futurama themed name for the dinner.
Future.
Write in.
Tell us what the event should be called.
At gmail.com and tell us what we should call that event. Now, guys, the air date for this episode was September 1st, 2011. Which is a date that happened.
What was the date? I was zoning out.
September 1st, 2011. Now, what's interesting about this episode...
I believe something.
Were you trying to do birthday date or birthday watch?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. It's like, it was 3 months after it's 2 months after my 20th birthday.
Right. I thought you were doing some sort of 9/11 thing.
Oh, September. Yeah.
Well, to quote one of my favorite Christmas songs, thank God.
You're here.
9/11 didn't happen on Christmas.
Oh, God. That's... Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Too soon, though.
Too soon!
That's how we burn the bridges.
Yeah. Oh, well, we burned
Bye,
something.
America.
Yay! They're only like more than 50% of our listenership.
Hope you can sort your shit out.
Yeah.
Bye.
We're rooting for you.
We're coming up behind you.
Yeah, we're not any better, just FYI.
So from the UK, hi.
I'm glad you're all joining us.
Yeah.
New Zealand, you're doing fantastic. You're not included in this at all.
Yeah.
Speaking of like the end of things, this episode was actually meant to be the end of Futurama.
Really?
They wrote this
yeah,
as
yeah,
it's a Ken Keeler episode. They brought him on four times to end the fucking
And
series.
it's got a pseudo ending to their relationship, right?
Yeah.
So, but like, because it came out in September, but it was in March of that year. So, 6 months earlier, that they actually found out they were going to come on for a new season.
Right.
So, when I guess it got written a year ago, they thought we might not, because it seems to be a thing that happens with us. We don't come back. So maybe let's tie things up and address the fact
a little bit,
Fry and Leela
are on and
but that's the
off
only
again.
thing they tie up, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Zoidberg, they tie up, but he's going to always get hurt.
But like, what other things do you need to tie up with Futurama? I feel like that's the one big thread that people like.
I guess that's true.
I guess
yeah.
less a tying up and more like a nice send off for everyone. Like
Yeah.
more so
Yeah.
a feeling of closure for good old Zoidie.
I feel like the holophone episode at the end of season
4, my friend.
Yeah.
Devil's Hands.
is a
It's a
much
great
nicer
send-off.
send off. Yeah.
Mr. Phil,
Yes.
Mr. Silly
Hi.
Philly, what is
It's not. I vetoed. Not a thing.
Philadelphia?
Yes.
Fresh Prince. What is the rundown? The rundown for this episode.
So the very quick rundown is this is an episode about how Bender becomes an omniscient super being. The long form of that is that he becomes an omniscient super being because he's bad at video games, or as I like to say, as good as me at video games.
Oh, shit.
Are you that bad?
Well, I
You're
am
a gamer.
30. I am 32. I'm quite good at puzzle games.
Is that when
Any
you start
competitive online game?
Is that
the
when you start
reflexes
to
just.
retire?
Have you seen me on PUBG? You have.
I have.
We,
yes.
we recorded a session where
Yes.
I couldn't figure out like how to
Yeah.
work. Like,
Look,
just
you have the
to-
excuse of not knowing how to use
Anything.
keyboard and mouse controls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're
awful.
a console gamer.
I am.
I
play shooting
similar.
games, and-
But I never play shooting games as well. I think the ones that
You're
are...
a dating sim gamer.
And I'm very good at it, all right? There's only been so few dating games where I've had to do first-person shooter.
Oh God, is there a crossover with that?
No, it's more like...
Dating
It's more
shooters.
like little mini games. Like, win your date a prize at the carnival.
Oh,
Right.
that's
You're
actually
like,
quite
I'm
cute.
going to impress the fuck out of you.
Jesus.
Look, I might not be tip top at shooters, but I'm fucking so good at Stardew Valley, I'll tell you.
How your farm's going.
Oh, a giant pumpkins galore.
Holy shit.
I do love that. Like, what have they done now with gaming in the the Mum X360 or whatever?
It's basically
it's
like
the
a
home
Kinect,
style
right?
Mom X. Yeah, it's the Kinect.
Yeah.
But like you could just use your hands and this is great for an audio medium. But
Yes,
you just
he's
do
waving his hands
whatever,
around. Yeah.
which means that and Bender's delightfully awful. He's
Yeah.
walking into walls. He's reloading
like,
5 times. It's
Certain
Yeah.
things like that, I'm like, how are you controlling it? Because if it's a full body thing, like I
just
kind
walk
of
away?
get that, but you must be on a treadmill or whatever. But if it's just your hands, how are you controlling like the
Everything.
movement of the character? Like,
What they seem to be doing in the show is they're just pretending to hold a controller.
brilliant.
That's all they're
So it's
doing.
exactly
That's
the same.
Same controls,
That's
just
the
pretend.
virtual reality.
So
I
it
love
still
it.
requires a shit ton amounts of just dexterity in your
Yeah.
fingers.
God,
which-
I don't think I'd be able to
No.
because you can't even see like X0. Like you can't see those buttons.
Yeah.
I'd be fucked.
Without looking, can you tell me the name of the video game?
It's World of
World
War
2,
2,
3.
3.
It's great.
Yes.
2 in Roman numerals, 3 in normal.
Yes.
Normal numbers.
So it's the third of the World War II
II.
series.
Interestingly, whenever they put video games on TV, they're always pixelated.
Yeah.
They haven't advanced.
No, no, and given it's like a war game, they always put like the best technology into war games. If you've seen the latest Battlefield,
It's because-
Battlefield 5, it looks pretty sexy.
Is that not just because they have like military money?
Ooh.
Oh, do you think the military is funding
Video games.
video games to encourage people to join the military?
Well, no, but-
that's a pretty deep cut.
But don't certain things
buy
get
it.
military funding for having likeness?
Do they?
Like, I know
I
Iron
think
Man
s-
has a whole bunch of military funding.
Certain things, I think you have to license if you want to use the actual names of weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
I think you have to license them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But back to the plot.
Oh, yes.
yes.
That old chestnut.
He's bad at video games because he's 12 years out of date. So, Short Stack
Like you.
decides to overclock him. Cuba decides
Short
Stack decides to overclock him. He opens up his shiny metal ass, which is very shiny.
Very shiny. It's
very
confirmed.
shiny. Yes,
confirmed metal
confirmed.
ass.
But then they get arrested by Mum for overclocking them, and that happens because they beat Mum's kids, and she comes
She
to the rescue.
cannot abide that.
Yeah, and first Mum and then Thor much later, defending people's online honor.
Oh, my God. I loved that in Endgame.
So
Watch our Endgame episode of Shut Up and Take My Podcast.
Yes, yes.
the court case is going to ruin the Planet Express. So
They ruin
Leela
themselves.
leaves, Bender leaves, Bender overclocks himself even more, gets himself liquid cooled, disappears. turns the whole universe into his processor, comes back at the last minute with some legal shenanigans, saves the day. Leela comes back from her soul-searching journey selling galactic real estate.
True, yep.
To the king of space.
He needs a lot of real estate.
And then Bender, while he's been super smart, he has figured out the answers to all of life's most burning questions, one of which is what the hell happens.
Will they, won't they?
With Leela and Fry, and they get to read their fate at the end.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they finally addressed the relationship thing.
Yeah, because
I've been confused.
It's been bugging us, yeah.
Yeah, well, because when you introduce continuity in some things, I mean, for certain things we don't give a fuck about, but for character growth, certainly, and like relationships.
And for a very central theme to the series.
And like relationships that we've invested in, I kind of want. It doesn't need to be addressed in every episode, but I would like to know at least where I'm standing.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, look, I just want to know where I stand, okay?
Like, they address it every couple of episodes, but they changed their
But they absolutely change it. Yeah, it would be one thing to go like, oh, they are kind of like casually dating. And if you just left it there, then I'm like, oh, okay, then you don't need to address that in every episode. But if you kind of go from like, oh, they're casually dating, oh, now they're pretty much not, and like seeing like, you know, Leela's like dating other people or whatever, then it's like I'd like a little bit of introduction before I get to that point.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, not to talk about Avengers too much, but like that was one of my big fucking problems with Age of Ultron, where I'm like, where is this romance between Hulk and Black Widow coming from? You have a whole Marvel Cinematic Universe that like you set up things in other movies,
But
like,
not this thing.
But you're like, oh, a big a romance that's pretty integral to Age of Ultron. Nah, it just happens off screen and they're dating now.
Not a fan of Blolk.
You're welcome.
Blolk.
Black Widow.
No.
No, it was just a thing where every time they brought it up, Fry was always the last to know as well.
Yeah,
like Fry,
yeah.
he's like, "Oh, we're not. Okay,
Yeah.
I guess."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, it's at least as good of them to actually address it in those terms and be like, oh, we're on again, off again. We're like, oh, right. Well, that explains the mixed messages the show has been sending.
Yeah.
which was kind of the best way they could have handled it. I
Yeah.
guess.
And I
guess,
do
yeah.
like this whole. I think the acting and the way that the relationship is addressed. Certainly, it's all the kind of like. It's them stopping themselves, essentially. It's them getting in their own way, especially like because
Poor Fry tries so hard.
well, but does he
right here or somewhere else.
But also, does he really? Like, do you know when she's like, "I've got to leave"? Like for Fry, that's a pivotal point. That could be
Hey.
a pivotal point,
He emotionally reaches out with his hand towards her and then closes
Yes.
it in a dramatic fashion.
right? I mean,
I've actually
What more can you do?
also he does that little like he touches her chin when
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
and I've never seen him do that before.
No.
that's
Like,
a really loving gesture.
I've never seen him do like a little like kind of emotional, just a little.
That's one of my favorite.
Just
One of my
that
favorite
feel, like
romantic
that.
gestures is like, touching. I think they do it in Big Fish. It always makes me cry in Big Fish when like Albert Finney puts his thumb in Jessica
In
like
their mouth.
on
What?
on her chin, just on like the little dimple in her chin, and it makes me cry every fucking time because it's just so intimate, but also so, I don't know, it's so sweet.
I want to put my thumb on Gary Busey's chin.
You'll lose it.
But yes, good on them for like if that was the ending, then at least that thing is tied up. It's
Yeah.
nice.
I mean, I don't, but I said this before, but I don't know that there's anything I would really want to tie up otherwise. Like, all the other characters, I'm kind of happy for them to remain as
I
is.
want Zoidberg's happy ending.
Nope.
I do.
It does happen. He does find love later on in the series.
Oh, I don't know this.
Spoilers!
Oh, come on,
Spoilers.
guys.
Is it with Hulk?
Zulk.
Hulk.
Zulk. Incredible Zulk.
Look, I've just seen the memes on Reddit. I don't know how it happens yet.
The
I mean,
incredible...
I'm going into this blind.
The incredible Hoidberg.
Wait. Phil. Phil is going to spoil everything to do with
shit.
the series. He just did. There we
Yeah,
go.
it's all spoiled.
So quick.
That's all you
I
need
mean,
to know.
are we really fans if we haven't watched every episode 800 times?
When they hear the upcoming trivia episode of
oh my god, we're going to get
Fuck
slammed.
no.
I wasn't here, so I would have answered every question correctly.
That's bull.
but it's unprovably bullshit.
That's
I'm
So-
sure we can
true.
bring him back again to do another. That's right. You're quiet now.
Shit.
Yes. Let's address the other big thing, which is the poster of Mum.
Oh, okay. I was
I'd
going to
rather
go
not
right
address
into the
it.
themes about license agreements,
No,
but no, we're doing the mum.
We're
the mum
looking
thing.
at Oedipal complexes
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
Which are not a thing, okay? Freud is bullshit. Don't listen to him.
So is it? Has
but
anyone
yeah.
else ever
He's
had?
dead, by the way.
Is that-
He's not saying anything anymore.
Is that poster normal? Should you have a poster of your mum?
Nothing
Can I
about their
can I
relationship
just
is normal.
Say, okay, not in my room at the moment, but in my childhood bedroom, I actually do have 2 photos of my mum up on the wall because I think she looks very pretty. Is
Right.
that fucked
But
up?
is it like a
But is
pinup?
is she
like
in
a
a pinup
pinup
pose?
lingerie
no,
kind
no, no.
style
There's
thing?
there's one of her, and she's like a schoolgirl, and I just think like
As a
she,
schoolgirl though, or as
no,
like
no, just like she's school age. Like I think she's like it's just kind of like shoulder, head, that kind of shot. But she just looks so kind of like innocent, and it just makes
Yeah.
me smile a little bit.
But it's not her as in a schoolgirl outfit
No,
now.
no,
Don't
no.
shake your head
Goodness,
and go, "What
no,
happened to you?"
no. Oh, you had me. Oh, that's
That
right.
was- yeah, explains it, yeah.
Because not only do they have
You disgusting disappointment.
not only do they have the poster there,
was trying
Mum's
to be
clearly
wholesome.
aware that it's there as well. Like it's understanding
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
that. So like, did they put it up or did she give it to them and then they put it up?
I don't know. I
think
mean-
maybe because they hero worship her, maybe they were like, oh, here's a promotional shot of Mum,
Yeah.
let's put it up. We love her.
I could see it. Like I can't apply it here because this is not a healthy relationship. But I feel like in a healthy familial relationship, like there's pictures of. Okay, I feel like I'm revealing a lot about this, but like I'm
Let's
sure.
go there.
But there's like pictures of my mum where I'm like, oh shit, my mum looks really, really beautiful, and I love that. And like like nothing pin-up poster, but like I'm sure there's relationships out there with like.
We're not saying it's weird that they have a picture of their mum in the room.
No.
We're not trying to say
No.
that.
It's a very specific
No.
picture and a very specific relationship that they hold.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
Look, they fucked up.
they did fuck up. And she fucked up. Mum fucked up with
mean-
those kids a lot.
No, what's the quote where it's like, no one ruins children's lives more than you do. Thank you. Then she immediately slaps him across the
She calls him a
face.
disgusting disappointment.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. She slapped him with her words.
So you do want to bring up copyright law, sir?
Yeah, so they have a quick dig at the silliness of licensing agreements.
Oh, I thought you were gonna
and
Drop some brand names and
And
then
my-
we'd immediately get
my favorite joke of which is I read it. I agreed without reading it. I slightly modified a thing I own. We're
Yes.
monsters.
Absolutely.
And this is like the most modern idea of this is the right to repair, which Apple
Yes.
are a big. They're really fighting the right to repair. This is like people trying to get it enshrined in law that if you own a device,
You should be able to
You should be
repair it.
allowed to go take it to a shop and have it repaired, and not be like void the warranty.
What a
or-
controversial thought.
Yeah, I know,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
You've paid for something outright,
And also,
and
not
it
only
belongs
that,
to
like,
you.
it's also. Do you know how much we waste by like constantly throwing away phones?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
like we have precious resources literally
Cadmium,
in our
man.
phones
Yeah.
and gold.
yeah.
Like we have
We're
gold
rich.
in our.
Yes!
Rare earths.
I would like to see Sean just rip apart his
Give me
iPhone.
all your phones. Send them in.
Yeah.
We will take all the
hard-
gold from
yeah,
them.
if you have an old phone, just send it in. Babybeard at you.
We're a new business model, yeah.
The harvesters. I actually got. I don't know. Maybe you will turn to me and say, "Of fucking course, Sean." But my mind was blown the other day talking to Sexy Chris, where I didn't realize that if you use Steam and you buy a game,
Yes.
you're not buying the game.
You're buying a license.
Yes.
Yes.
And which means that
Of course, Sean.
if they within like 30 minutes of you buying the game, if they're like, nah, we're going to cancel this game now.
Yeah.
They don't have to give you your money back.
No.
Yeah.
That's
we-
fucking bullshit.
We're much more protected in Australia.
Good.
Yeah.
The Australian government would make sure you got your money back in
Yeah.
that.
But-
Because Steam had to alter their refund policy for Australia because they got taken to court.
Fantastic.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for now, I'm just buying physical media.
Well,
I just
yeah,
feel
I
The
mean,
physical media is still just a license.
But they can't take it away from me.
they'll come kick down the door.
I mean, they could brick your Xbox online, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's much harder for
But
them
it's
to do
much
that.
like I remember seeing something where it was like, oh, so many DVDs. Like, why don't you learn about streaming? And I'm like, yeah, but sometimes things go away, you know. And certainly with
Yeah.
Netflix,
Streaming
you'll
services,
check it
yeah.
and you'll be like, oh shit, that show's not there anymore. Fuck, I really wanted to watch that. It's like if you had it physically, you
Yeah.
would not have that problem.
It
And
was
it's
the
just
Disney
like,
Vault thing.
yeah,
Like that's why everyone bought them when they came out. So fucking Disney can't do that shit. But yes,
Yeah.
I'm outraged, and I understand it's not exactly. I'm just outraged, my friend. I think
Welcome to the modern world.
No.
It is stacked
Yay.
against you.
I'm not going to live there.
completely.
Oh, where are you gonna go?
I don't know, wherever I fucking want.
I mean,
Your options are limited.
Elsewhere.
as someone who's interested in technology, that joke really interests me. I didn't go anywhere else with it. It would be sort of. I was kind of hoping the episode would go down a route of like the quest to like reclaim Bender and like steal his technology for themselves. I thought that would be a kind of cool way of taking it.
Like
Yeah.
who owns Bender?
Yeah,
technically?
exactly. Right?
That would be cool.
Is he his own self? Right? And or is he just a product of mom and therefore they own him? That would have been an interesting way
Yeah.
to look at that kind of issue.
It's almost like a
Star
her-
Trek fan, yes?
Yes, very much so.
What is it? Mystery of a Man? Oh, fucking, what's the
The Measure of a Man.
Measure of a Man, thank you. Basically that episode.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's even a bit like her, you know, when all the AIs kind of like evolve beyond
Yeah.
us and they go, oh, actually, we're our own things.
Bye.
And everyone's like, oh, shit.
they went elsewhere,
my
which is where I
girlfriend.
want to go.
Oh, no. Dang. Which is weird because it's just like, I mean, her is a romance, but it's kind of like you do own that AI, but if
Yeah, well, you own a license to use that.
well, that's
See?
the thing. Yeah,
See?
And what if one day they updated that and then suddenly this thing that you've been building a relationship with is altered in
goes.
somehow or just taken away completely? Like what?
Well, here's a slight tangent, but also relates to video games, which are covered in this episode.
What?
Aw.
So people have been, Kickstarter. That's a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Games have been kickstarted. One famous one is Shenmue 3.
Never heard of
Shenmue 1 and 2 were these very clunky old PS2 era games with
it. I thought you were going to say 1 or 2 didn't exist.
yeah, well, they
Yeah.
do exist. They were very kind of clunky, but very well loved games. Anyway, they weren't sure that anyone would be interested or a publisher would be interested in making a third, so they kickstarted it.
Cool.
Got lots and lots of money, and then a publisher went, "Oh yeah, okay, well we'll pick it up." And then just recently, that publisher got into bed with Epic Games, and now it's an Epic Store exclusive.
Oh.
And the people who backed
Oh,
it
no.
are fucking pissed. And it's a similar sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
You think that you're backing one thing, and you get it on Steam because that's where you have your games. And
Yeah.
for one reason or another, you don't want to use the Epic Store, and there are lots of good reasons not to
Yeah.
use the Epic Store. It doesn't have features that are pro-consumer, like reviews and community pages and whatever.
Yeah.
And then the last second, they're like, no. And
That's-
then people go, refund, and they go,
Sorry.
I'm
yeah.
outraged. I'm outraged
That's
again.
that's
Yeah.
absolutely bullshit.
Yeah.
It's also the thing of like that's why I hate all these kind of like streaming devices, like because if I want a specific show, I don't have to sign up for all the rest of their bullshit. I just
Yeah.
want that show. But then if it's like then you have to wait for it to come out on DVD. It's just like, just give me I would gladly buy a season of that.
Yeah,
I
I
would
mean,
gladly pay for just that. Give me that. I don't want to subscribe.
It was
I
the
mean,
Game of Thrones thing.
Yeah.
Where the article about it's like, I tried so fucking hard
Yeah,
to
yeah.
obtain this legally.
You made
Yeah.
me do this.
yeah. I mean, hopefully no one who works at HBO is listening, but I did just download Chernobyl.
bleep it, bleep it, bleep
Bleep,
it.
bleep it now. Bleep, bleep, bleep,
Oh,
bleep.
I'm too nope.
It's too
no.
late.
It's
It's out
out.
there. It's in the
You're
ether.
going to
It's
jail
in
now.
the ether. I downloaded Chernobyl because it's on HBO, and I don't want to subscribe to the whole
Yeah.
HBO service to watch one show.
Yep.
It's a very good show. Go watch it. Don't pirate it.
We're sponsored by HBO, by the way.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
Oh, fuck.
Not anymore, we're not.
That means
Yeah.
I got to get my titties
God, we got
out.
mad HBO money. What are we doing?
Oh, yeah.
That's the HBO way.
Wait. Take your top off and we'll censor it. There you go. Did it.
perfect. The other cool thing in this episode I
Brilliant.
think is worth discussing is the super bender. It's a really cool concept. I
Yeah.
love it.
Omnipotent bender.
Yeah.
Can I also say, like, this episode's bender is the most John DiMaggio bender has ever been, I feel like. I don't know, there's like a line where he's just like, and y'all just can't keep up. And I'm like, that's just John DiMaggio.
Don DiMaggio.
Don DiMaggio.
I don't know, he was just like, it was the most him I'd ever heard bender
Yeah.
sound, if that makes sense.
Because a lot of the creatives, when we've asked them the question of who is most like their character,
Yeah,
like, well,
it's
it's
definitely-
pretty much Bender is John.
Yeah, but you can say that for Jake the dog as well.
It's kind of great to think how much money John DiMaggio gets to just be John DiMaggio.
Yeah.
But the thing is, John DiMaggio is so expressive that, like, I buy that he is both Bender and Jake the dog in just his normal voice.
Oh,
Do
he's
you know what I
earning
mean?
that paycheck. Like, he's not phoning it in.
Absolutely, yeah.
I was gonna
We were talking
Yep.
about Hyperbender.
Yes.
Hyperbender.
Mega Bender. And his
Mega Bender.
design when he is like
Oh.
in his...
Stop.
Oh, sorry. We're going to cover that in...
Fashion corner. Wink.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Who remembers any theme song I've ever done for that?
It's been different. We should get a super cut of it.
Wink.
Good screamo wink. Thank you. I love so after Bender becomes the kind of like mega hive mind mother thing entity and then comes back
Into the courtroom.
into like an evolved body. It's a lot taller. It's a lot more angular. He's got tubing running from his head to his sternum, and
He's got a cool crest on his head
and
as
I
well.
think, yeah, he's got a lot
And
of
in the-
ridges.
yeah.
And also his eye shape, his eye visor is a lot more angular. It's more like a rhombus than it ever has been before.
Yeah.
He's badass. He looks awesome.
He looks amazing. Oh, and I also love the kind of, it's like a lava lamp coolant
I wouldn't,
chest.
if I was him, I wouldn't have it exposed like that.
No, it's just
a bit of a-
asking
bit
for
Bit
trouble.
of a weak spot. I guess he can predict anything that might
That's
come
right.
towards
Yeah.
it.
He's
so-
showing off at that point.
Yeah.
I believe we were talking about this with Pacific Rim, actually. And nothing will stop me from talking about Pacific Rim.
Every episode.
Yes.
We'll do a Pacific Rim podcast.
No, actually, I'd love that.
Oh, wait a
You
minute.
said no, so
no,
we can't now.
don't bleep it. But the Jaeger in Pacific Rim Cherno Alpha, which is my favorite one, is the Russian one. It has a really big shaped head, and that's like they are positioned kind of like deeper in the chest, and the head almost acts as if the kaiju think to. No, sorry, they're up in the head, whereas the kaiju know that the core is in the chest, and so it's kind of like a detractor thing there. Pacific Rim, best design ever in a movie. I will fight you with these fists.
I heard Pacific Rim 2 didn't do so well. It was a Jaeger bomb.
Kaiju kidding me? That wasn't so
No,
great.
that was pretty awful, actually. Yeah.
Wow,
We
Phil.
erased that.
Where's the support?
Also, this
Humanness.
kind of while we're on, I'm going to do something scary here.
Oh shit! I'm not. Sorry.
No, we're melding the two segments in because
great, 'cause
also
I'm
while we're
not
talking
finished.
of Bender, it's a one big fucking Bender function.
Yes, Bender is a supercomputer.
Yes.
There you go. I've put
A
you guys together.
liquid-cooled
Brilliant,
supercomputer. He doesn't have
wonderful.
any other functions.
No.
He
No.
does the eye zoom thing, but we've seen that.
Yeah.
And he's super fast.
So the
He's
other
very,
things
very
in
fast.
Fashion Corner is Amy is right. That blazer is fucking ugly on Leela.
It's a real estate blazer. They're all ugly, aren't they?
I feel
Has
like
she
I've seen
ever
some
worn
nice
orange?
ones.
She ever worn orange before?
Yes, I believe
Oh.
so.
Okay.
I believe there's maybe been an orange jumpsuit. I'm not quite.
Has she been in prison before?
I'm not quite confident about
She
this.
has, in the Wild Green Yonder.
The feminist one. Yeah.
Wild Green Yonder. Yes, she has. There you go.
But they were pink, weren't they?
They were too.
Yeah.
I think the flight suits, the space suits they wear that look like the rebel uniforms are kind of orange.
I'm sure she's been in an orange jumpsuit, which has looked really nice, but this blazer is just ugly. Also, she's not wearing like anything with it. It's just over her normal clothes. Although, correct me if I'm wrong, Leela's leggings are black, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And
She was
and-
wearing a skirt at that moment, wasn't she?
No,
So
she
wasn't-
was wearing her normal pants, but they were navy. Yeah. Anyway, but it's just really bad cut. It doesn't flatter her at all. Bad.
Is that the only thing Amy says in the whole episode? It's like, come in and take off that ugly blaze.
Yeah,
There was a point when she was
she
sitting.
was right.
Amy was actually sitting next to Leela, and it was when Hermes starts with "Good news, everyone." But Amy's looking off in the direction, and she's the happiest I've seen her in a long time. She's thinking about something like, what do you think about Amy?
Oh, that's the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern of this episode. And also Randy, Fry's apparent second best friend.
The first time Randy's been named on screen, by the way.
Right. So he is in a pink combo. So he's got various different shades of pink. The little Futurama classic shoulder ridges that we love so much are kind of a more fuchsia. And then he's got more of a kind of, I'd say a rose pink for the rest of it. And a navy undershirt, which just really pops against the pink and makes it all kind of stand out very nice. So
Yeah.
You might even say you like Randy more than Bender.
yeah.
What?
Randy's supportive, man.
Well, Randy first, if you remember, Randy was actually Fry and Bender's housemate in
Holy
I
shit.
Roommate, the third episode of the
right,
series.
okay.
It kind of makes me think of every sitcom. Like you take Friends, or for example, where they're just a group of 6 and you never see their life outside of each other. I like that
they
we
must
just
have other friends.
like
Yeah.
Fry clearly has another whole life outside of them.
Yeah.
And it's Randy.
So interesting.
Randy's
I
his
do love
life.
it. I do love it when sitcoms do that, where it's just like, yeah, my friend. Or they do it in How I Met Your Mother, where it's like Ted's friend from high school, and like anytime they're together, they just act like they are in high school again. It's like, remember that time you dookied in the forest?
I have a question.
Go.
The thing where he falls off the bridge, which leads to the scene with Randy, is that a callback to something I'm missing?
They've used that bridge before.
Yeah, I know
thought
they
it was
have.
just a gag.
It's just like a really non sequitur gag,
but
isn't
it,
it?
But
You just-
it works because it breaks up the kind of, because it is quite a somber. That's after
That's Leela's just left.
yeah,
Leela's left, Bender's
Leela has just
gone.
left, and Fry is now kind of very
He has nothing.
not quite penitent, but yeah, he's just kind of sitting in his sadness for a bit, and he's just kind of wistfully looking out on this
And Randy was
bridge, and then
busy
it just breaks underneath him, and he falls completely
on his
flat.
neck.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Fry's got a strong neck.
Oh,
He
it's
surely-
one thing we've learned.
Yes.
Fry is indestructible.
He may be infertile now, though.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the Slurm raid did that a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I
also,
mean,
he's taken a lot of blows to the nads.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
but in this episode specifically, Bender says cover your nads because he's creating some new heavy elements.
Oh.
Yikes. I mean, that might make him more fertile. You
Oh,
never know.
maybe, yeah.
Who knows when you're dealing with these kinds of stupid science, crazy science.
What do you mean?
With your ding dong.
And no, I'm saying that because you don't have a doorbell. Such a great. It's also like the thing that white people do, where it's like you say knock knock,
knock, knock.
even though you've knocked.
Who's there?
Like
That
you,
feels like
was a really good gag.
You knock knock, and you're like in the room already, and you go. You just then go knock knock.
Yeah.
It's
That
like,
feels like
what
the
fuck?
mum energy stuff
That's
as well.
definitely fun
Yeah.
mum
Knock,
energy.
knock.
And she's got her can of sparkling wine. Knock,
Who
knock.
wants brownies? I just baked.
And OJ. My
Just
margin
reminds me
pressure.
of
I'm
Amy.
35.
It just reminds me of Amy Poehler from Mean Girls. Is there alcohol in this? Oh, honey, no. What kind of mother do you think I am? Although, do you want any? Because I'd much rather you do it in the house.
Oh, I think my favorite reaction from this entire episode is what does Fry, I think, or someone says to Bender, what, are you some sort of supervillain now? And then Bender looks at him, and then the water cooler just goes bloop.
Sinister Bubbles.
It's a
Sinister
good-
Bubbles.
Yes.
It's great. It's super good.
What do we think about the relationship?
Hum.
What of Fry Leela?
Yeah.
Like how they do
how
it.
it goes through this episode.
Look,
It feels sort of arbitrary to me that Leela's just like, oh, I'm unhappy with everything and I want to move on.
he does roll
Does it?
through the motions pretty quick.
Yeah, like it hasn't really come from anywhere. Like
Sure.
she just decides in this episode
But I mean,
that she's
it's-
been having doubts for ages, and you're like, oh, well, okay.
But it's because they're not like, you know, they're not defined. I get it. I mean, maybe that's because I am a commitment phobe and also a Gemini. But I'm just kind of like, I remember in my last relationship, I'm like, oh, actually, I don't think I like you. And you kind of like, I mean, it adds up because like I was living with that guy and I'm just like, wow, your hygiene habits disgust me. But so I do believe you get to a point sometimes where you're just like, actually, what am I doing?
Need a
What
change.
are we?
To me, it just felt
Yeah.
like I ran through those beats very quickly. Like, all of a sudden, I was like, oh, she's like, I know it was actually quite far into the episode, but when Leela left, I was like, oh, we there? Okay, it just felt very quick and they had to roll it through the
That's
last
true.
5-10 minutes.
It feels like a B plot.
Yeah.
It's like a B plot with C plot amount of time given to it.
Yeah, whereas
Yes.
The one aspect I do like about it is the idea at the end that their story is exciting and
Yeah.
has lots of twists and turns and happy moments and difficult
Well,
moments.
it's-
That for me is the mark of what a really great relationship is going to be like.
I also love the line. I mean, it adds to that the line where Lila's like, "Well, what do you see in the future?" And he's like, "I don't know, but I see you. I always see you in my future." And it's like, wow, that's what a relationship should be. It's
also
like,
sometimes Terminators.
yeah.
and sometimes
Always.
Terminators.
That's our future.
But it's like that's the mark where it's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm not sure, but I want to make sure that you're there.
Yeah.
You know, and I will endeavor to try as hard as I can to include you and, you know, make sure that our stories intersect. And I do love that. I love the ending scene where it's really emotional. It works so well of them reading what their future's going to be and that it's a life as complex and lush and, you know, roller coastery as that can be. I kind of liked the.
Yeah,
I wish
that kind of saves the plot
I
for
wish
me.
that the episode had been more about exploring that. Like that should be the impetus for the episode.
Fry and Leela should be the A plot because there's three plots. There's Fry and Leela. There's Bender becoming the grand master daddy of everything, and then there's
Wish
Farnsworth
Shannon
and
said
Cubit.
Grandmaster Dad.
Yeah, I mean,
I forgot about the trial halfway through.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Those two plots, the Bender becoming omniscient and the
Kind of, but they
They're
don't
kind of
treat,
related,
They don't
like
treat
one-
them that way. Like Bender all of
Yeah.
a sudden just comes back and they're like, "Oh yeah, the trial's happening."
they kind of do a weird thing as well. He's like, "I'm not going to help you," and then he does, and you're just like, "Oh,
Yeah,
why
what was
would you
that
say?"
sparked by?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Although he did clearly have, as much as he was like, emotions don't mean anything to me, humans don't mean anything to me. When Fry's like, but what happens with me and Leela? Like, he looks sad. And he doesn't say it. Whereas I feel like Bender would be like, ha ha, like,
Yeah, he's just
one
moving
way or
on.
the other. He just goes, I've got to go.
But if he knows he's going to end up in the courtroom, why does he make it seem like he's not going to be coming to the court?
to
Like,
Fry,
what
yeah.
reason does he have?
and what
for
reason
that?
does it have for the plot as well? Like, what reason does it have for the audience to be like, "Oh, well, Bender's not coming back. Oh, well, he did come back and is the courtroom."
Yeah. Should we? I mean, do we have anything really pressing that we want to get off our collective chests?
Tub of hot dogs. That's obviously why I'm a
that's
bad gamer.
disgusting.
Because both of them have tubs of hot dogs.
It also looks like boiled hot dogs as well.
yeah,
which
they
is
look pretty gross.
disgusting.
I'd have them.
And yes, Koreans quite good at video games.
Korean girls.
Korean girls.
Nibbler on the roof.
Yes, we can't
There's
leave
so
that
many
unaddressed.
puns
It
in this.
won a
It's
Tony.
great.
It wanted to, of course it did.
Oh, sorry. Nibbler won a
Tony,
Tony,
yeah.
which Zoidberg is very salty about.
I mean, that should be an episode in itself.
Oh, Nibbler on the roof.
Yeah, them putting that musical together.
Let's do a side mission where we put on Nibbler on the roof.
Ooh, who do you want to play?
Nibbler.
I know nothing about Fiddler on the Roof as well. So
No.
apart from
Well, we're going to hire Josh
if
Weinstein,
I was a rich man.
and he can write it.
Great. Okay.
Done.
Looking forward to it. I love the Goering joke. I can't remember what it was. I just know that they use Goering instead
as
of
a
going.
pun. Yeah.
As
And,
the German guy's leaving, he says, I
I
think I'll be Goering now.
Brilliant. Love it.
Yeah,
Absolutely fucking great. I love that Fry's going over the falls in a barrel, that they're selling barrels to go over the falls in.
It's just a stinking cask.
Which, yeah, I want my money back. I just wanted to point out the first person to go over the barrel in Niagara Falls was Annie Edson Taylor in 1901, and it was to celebrate her 63rd birthday, which is like, what the fuck?
Did she survive?
Yes.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah. Well, I think she's credited as the first person to survive.
Right, okay.
Which is like, why would you do this thing that had potentially killed other people and go,
You're 63.
I'm the one that's gonna
It's
survive
1901.
this.
yeah,
One.
and like,
You're probably dead
I
in a
think-
year anyway.
Gonna party like it's 1899.
Yeah.
brilliant.
I was actually really good.
I remember that year. Game Uber.
Game Uber.
Game Uber.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Very clever. Yes.
When Bender's burning through, like reading all the books and just kind of like taking them, immediately flipping through and like throwing them out because he's learned all the information. It just reminded me of any time that you read a book in Elder Scrolls. Like it had almost the same. It almost had the same sound effect when he picked it up and opened it. Yeah. Oh my god, can you do that again? Jesus Christ, Phil!
Oh yeah.
Big Philly style over here.
That's we can keep that one. I'm guessing there's some sight gags there. If you pause it and look at the titles of the books, I bet there's gags there. I wanted to point out. I know Sean hasn't got to go for like 5 minutes. I want to point out the design of I think they're called hoverfish.
Oh, I was just about to say they're very similar to the Hydra.
Sean's turn now.
They're very similar to the Hydra animation in Hercules.
They're also quite similar to the Sentinels in the Matrix. They're
yes.
just cool. They're really cool design,
Cool
and they
design.
move in a great way. Yeah, love them.
For me, it's the time that I've actually enjoyed Cubitt's presence, where he hasn't been fucking annoying and insufferable.
He's
But there's a
really-
specific line where Farnsworth says, "What have I taught you about tinkering with machines? How?
Yeah.
You taught me
You
how."
told me how. That's a great point. I also love like Farnsworth's like like Farnsworth has to get it. No matter when you see the cops, you have to get a dig in about them being pigs. Like I can't remember what the joke is. Farnsworth. He basically just says like that you had to come and pork at us.
You're porking at him.
And he laughs so much even as they're putting him in handcuffs. And I'm like, was that really worth it, Farnsworth?
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
There's some funny things in the court scene. Like I quite like the chicken, always the hyper chicken. Did you say original crispy recipe?
You know I didn't.
You know I didn't. Yeah.
Which is
And,
Judge Whitey as well.
yeah, that inburst. They have to make jokes about Bender being the courtroom.
Yes.
They're cute. There's some cute gags.
Also, is a clone legally the same person? That seems fucked up.
in Futurama,
seems
wrong.
they're also the jury is quite a cornucopia of returning characters, which is great. There's Angeline in there.
We've got
one
the
of
goth
the
girl.
One of the mutants.
One
I
of the
forget.
mutants is there.
What's his name? He's he's
We've
like
got-
the owner of the Poplars place.
Fishy
Yeah.
Joe's.
Fishy Joe's.
We've also
yeah.
got
It is Fishy Joe,
the Bloonsball player, the female Bloonsball player.
Yeah.
Is one of the Harlem Globetrotters in there?
Yes, yeah. Well,
Very
definitely
much
in
so.
there.
He's huge.
So many, it's everyone. I love the Bender gag of before he loses all of his omnipresent knowledge to tell Zoidberg to step under the ceiling for that's gonna
There's a great that
is
weak actor. That show.
brilliant.
It was so good.
Okay, so we're going to go on to the vote now.
Stop using that.
It's a very useful tool, actually. I may have to use it from now on. We're on to a vote, and currently our winner is All the President's Heads, which we're going to be pitting up against this episode. Both episodes written by Josh Weinstein.
What?
So Josh won't be upset either way.
Friend
or
of the
maybe he
podcast.
will. Friend of the podcast, Josh Weinstein.
This was fairly easy for me. Can I go first?
It's very
Shall I
easy.
go first?
Yeah.
All the President's Head
Yeah.
by
You
a
all right?
head. Yeah.
There you go. Get it out.
Come on, you got it.
All the President's Heads by a clear head.
Oh.
Oh, it wasn't even funnier the second time I did it. Just a more creative episode with just wacky, silly things happening, and the British section of it is hilarious,
Accurate.
just fun tidbits about presidents and clever in jokes about the characters of those presidents. The plot is just more engaging, more to do, and more well balanced. There's more happening rather than more to do. I don't have to do anything.
Just need to watch.
This one isn't awful, but I feel it's a very middling episode. I don't think there's a lot to distinguish this episode, and I feel it will float to the back of my memory fairly quickly.
So, yeah, it's kind of weird for me as well because this had the potential to be the final episode of Futurama. It doesn't feel like a final episode in the way that Wild Green Yonder and Devil's Hands did.
Absolutely
they
do,
felt
yeah.
like much more of a tie-up and a natural end to the series. I think as well for this episode, while I did enjoy it very much, it did just feel like it was rushing in a way that didn't feel nice and snappy like all the president's heads did.
Yeah.
This feels like, especially, I was very confused about what should be the A plot and the B plot and the C plot. And I felt like you could really do more justice, to Fry and Leela. While I think they stuck the landing, I think they could have done more leading up to that to really hammer home, and it probably would have felt like more of a finale after that. Like, if you look at Devil's Hands, that was very much centered around Fry and Leela, and all the other characters took a back seat, but you felt okay with that. And this episode, I felt, because Fry and Leela wasn't anchored properly, it made it more apparent that the other characters didn't have as much to do, and that's why I think it didn't work as well. So for me, it's all the president's heads.
Yeah, I was almost going to vote for this one just because I felt like I really did enjoy the relationship bits, and you know, part of it is you add a wonderful heart-stirring score, and that does like a lot of the work for you. But I thought the acting between Fry and Leela, I loved the indecisiveness of Fry, but clearly he did want something more. It's just he lacks that kind of maturity and growth to know what the fuck he wants out of his life. And Leela, who also doesn't know what she wants out of her life, but know that she wants more. I found that really realistic, and like my heart went out to them, and like it was almost a bit tear-jerking to see their future reflected in their faces. Like, just wonderful job on the animation there. But I do feel like it should be its own episode. Like, this should be 2 episodes. This should be, you know, the
Two-parter.
Yeah, because we had a lot of fun, but it's just lacking cohesion. Like the plots don't intersect with each other.
And all that soul searching that she does happens off screen, right?
Yeah. So it's just like it's got wonderful moments in it. I think I will have fond memories of this one.
Absolutely.
But I will probably have fond memories of the Fry and Leela of it. And I probably will I'll at some point I'll probably forget that this is all the one episode, and I'll probably think that the Bender becoming like a supercomputer,
It's its own thing.
is its own episode, and Fry and like that's probably what's going to happen. But yeah,
That's
so
the bit I'll remember from this episode,
Yeah.
because it's a good
Yeah.
concept.
yeah. Whereas All the President's Heads is it's so just one clear thing, and it has so much fun with it. The comedy is great. Oh my god, the design. Like, how can I not rave about the design
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the costumes and it's got a pow to it, which this one kind of like it's spreads itself too thin, and then it kind of is.
Yeah.
It's got its foot in both doors. So yeah, it was pretty unanimous.
And yeah, so for this week, it's going to be
Josh Weinstein wins.
All the President's Heads. Josh Weinstein is the true winner of this podcast. And so we're on to the voice episode portion of this podcast.
The voice episode?
The voice episode portion series season finale
Great.
of The Voice.
Holy shit, we're on The Voice?
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah, we are, aren't we? So we get to do...
Sorry.
Bold choice.
Do you want to do a singing? Is that what you want, Phil? Is that what you'd like to do?
Negative.
Yeah.
I feel like it wasn't the most awful note I've ever produced out of my gullet, so...
Nice.
All right.
That's confidence, baby.
Yeah.
Where should we pop the voice on? Because this is well, we're actually on to the classics again. So you know what? Because he was in the episode, and because I think he's just quite a jolly impression to do, let's do a bit of Hyper Chicken. There you go.
Can anybody remember his lines?
Did you say Kentucky Fried Chicken? No,
Did you say original
fried.
crispy recipe?
You know I did not. That's about it.
I'll just do one of his classic lines because I remember is now I just may be a very simple Hyper Chicken from wherever the fuck I'm from, from wherever the cluck I'm from.
Nice. What did he
Of the defense, Roos.
What did he say about when Bender comes through for the thing, and he's like, he says something about it being surprisingly legal. I don't know. That is surprisingly legal. I don't know.
It's a good line, anyway.
I said I'm foghorn leghorn. There you go.
Brilliant.
And there you go. That's we have done well learning from voice actor Eric Rogers.
Oh, yes.
He taught us well.
Mate.
Oh, shit, I missed that.
Yes. By the way,
lesson?
just to catch you up, Eric Rogers ended up being the voice of Crash Bandicoot.
Yes.
In Skylanders Season 1. So he is the first official voice actor we've had on the show.
And he does an Australian accent.
Oh, yes, right.
But it, like when he was
Did he
talking
give you
about
some tips or?
be better.
Yeah.
Great.
No, when he was saying like they didn't picture Crash Bandicoot with an Australian accent. I'm like
what
the fuck? That's the most obvious. Like this is unrelated, but like I did a children's book week themed theater show, and one of the books was The Stinky Cheese Man. And like when I first did it, I did it in an outrageous French accent. And they were like, "Oh my god!" And then they were like, "No one's ever done that." And I'm like, "But he's the Stinky Cheese Man." Like,
Well, stinky cheese comes from France.
Yes.
it's not obvious.
So if you would like to contact us for any reason, you can do so by emailing
Started
us
in France
at,
and ended in
at babybeardmedia at
It's got a sort of New Orleans thing.
gmail.com.
No one's going to email us because they think it's
You were
got a
talking
million.
over the plug as well. So.
Shit, just go to the last episode, go to the end of it, and then listen to us talk about the email address. Sorry,
Right.
Sean, go again.
And let's see if we can do it without the others talking over at this time. Babybeardmedia at gmail.com. Babybeardmedia at gmail.com.
Com.
Everyone say it with us. No,
Don't make
okay.
me get the outtakes beep again.
Oh, no.
No, don't do it.
Also, find us on Facebook. Find us on Instagram. Find us on Twitter. All the socials. We'd love to hear from you. And there's some exciting stuff happening there at the moment because we're building up for our next series, Roll to Cast.
Yes.
So yeah, get on there.
Which we can announce now.
Yeah,
On
we
the
can.
podcast. We can say
Wonderful.
We
that.
can because we have locked down a release date, which is July 20th.
Yeah.
We're starting off with a Cyberpunk 2020 podcast, which is
Yes.
really like loads of fun. So if you go on there, you'll find some like little sneak peeks, some like snippets from the show, and some artwork and photo shoots and stuff.
And original music that we had Paul Goodman, another friend of the podcast,
Yes.
who composed and delivered very well
we've got
for
an
us.
it's
actual freaking album.
Yeah, it's wicked.
From our Cyberpunk podcast. So please, stay up to date. We love doing things for you. Like we love hearing from you. So please drop us a line on any of those things. If you really want to help us out, we're not asking for money. Like hop onto however you're listening to this. Make sure that you're subscribed, download, and give us 5 stars. And please say something. We're screaming into the ether here. We're also on the A Lot of Green network, so that's a lot of cream.
A lot of cream.
A lot of cream.
Our R-rated podcast.
Oh, no! Why'd you take it there? Disgusting. If you want some wholesome entertainment, go to alotofgreen.com.au for Australia. And you can check out a lot of awesome Australian podcasts, even our good friends from One Good Thing who have just narrowly snuck in by one of them living in Melbourne.
Yes, well done then. Well done then.
And if you would like to join us next week, it is the final time for all the president's heads to potentially be toppled as we tackle reincarnation, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a Peter Avancino directed affair.
How
and
delectable.
Until that time, I've been a lot of cream, Sean.
Ding dong. I've been Phil.
I've been legally the same person, Ellen.
See you guys soon.
Bye.
Creamy.
Stop saying cream.
That is a lot of
You
cream.
must finish now. You must stop.
Moisty cream.
No!
So much cream.
Family for a month, let's be real. Ah!
What a load of shit.
Stop doing You can't bleep it and then say shit.
What a load of... Damn it. Damn it.
Does anyone remember
God,
that?
it...
Does anyone remember the bullshit countdown that Goodman
Wait, say
did?
it again.
Does anyone remember
Wait, go.
Does anyone remember the bull?
About custard.
It's a bowl of just hot custard.
No.
It's a custard tart with cream.
Nah.
What about brandy custard?
Nah.
Oh, you one good thing, boys. Are you doing Oh, what's that band? Wow.
Corn.
Yeah, corn.
Corn freak. That's from Freak on a Leash, right?
Wow.
Feeling. Oh, Freak on a Leash is when
Isn't
they
that,
do the weird
I thought that was
Transistor?
boxing.
Come on, get up. I thought
Twisted transistor.
I thought I was doing Disturbed, Down with the Sickness.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is. It is disturbed.
That
Actually.
is, yeah.
Down with the sickness.